Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, what is going on? It's your boy, Dwayne, a.k.a. the Prince of Botch. You know it. Friendly neighborhood Prince Botch over here. What's going on, guys? How y'all feeling? Y'all still hanging on in there pretty well? I hope you boys been keeping y'all pretty entertained, man. You know, we just been lining up guests after guest after guest, bow, 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 after guest. Because that's how we do it here on Life's a Botch, man. And I got a real dope guest in the house for y'all today, man. You know, on the Life's a Botch podcast, I like to give all my fellow wrestling fans, both casual, hardcore, and maybe you just, getting new to the field. Maybe you a newcomer into this wrestling world. I like to give y'all perspectives from all sides, all angles, as we say. So today, I got a real dope special guest in the house. He is a podcast host of X Marks the Spot, but also he is a referee, a native referee talent for Victory Championship Wrestling out of Mumford, Alabama. Mumford, Alabama, if you're listening, make some noise. Alabama as a whole, if you're listening, make some noise. Hey, we got our boy, real dope brother, and I can't wait to introduce him to y'all. The one, the only, Darrell Shaw. How you feeling, my brother?
What up, bro? How you doing, man? Good to be here.
Hey, look, thanks for coming on to the show, man. It is an honor to have you on, man. Go ahead and tell the people about yourself a little bit real quick, man.
Well, Darrell Shaw, referee for Victory Championship Wrestling at Mumford, Alabama. Been there almost a year now. I got my own podcast, X Marks the Spot. It's on Apple. It's on everything. It's been doing this thing, man. I try not to brag about it. I don't want to be a little mark for myself, but I've been really blessed. I've been on the Apple charts, all that good stuff. So it's been a good year so far, man.
Okay. Well, that's good, man. So y'all already know to check that out. You know what I mean? Because podcast to podcast, we all support each other. So you already know what time it is, man. Make sure you subscribe, follow, check out X Marks the Spot. And when things are back to a semi-norm, make sure you check out Victory Championship Wrestling while you're at it, because you're going to see my boy Full Minute in the center, in the square circle, arguing, telling the guys to bag back. You know how that go. So let's talk about, let's go to the basics here, and let's talk about what got you into the world of wrestling. What made you such a fan of this gorgeous sport that we love?
Man, I don't even know where to begin, man. I'm just like you, pretty much lifelong, man. I probably know more about wrestling than I do myself at this point, man. You told me you started watching when you were 7. I started when I was 4. And wow. My dad brought a tape home one time. It was SummerSlam 90. And man, the first thing I seen was Shawn Michaels selling a leg injury, and I was automatically hooked because I felt sorry for the guy. And I just kept watching, and it just been on from there, nonstop.
Wow, you take it back too, because that right there, for those who don't know, see, people know about Shawn Michaels, but they don't know about that era that Shawn Michaels came out of. You know what I mean? That new generation era. You know what I mean? When people forget that he actually carried WWF on his back for quite a while. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, a rough period, man. Shawn Michaels the front runner, man.
Man, I am telling you, like, it's crazy when you look back and appreciate, like, man, I didn't realize that was Gimmick City that Shawn Michaels came out of, and it was just like, whoa, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like, today when you recognize him, you really don't, you forget about the gimmick of what Shawn Michaels was in a gimmick-like era that he came from. Like, he literally was just the guy that was such a great performer and like had such a charisma that you were just like in love with that. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir. And I was all into kayfabe because I hated him during when he that Eddie. Oh, he was dead to me. I was not rocking with Shawn Michaels, man. I just hated his guts.
Yes. And I'm glad you mentioned kayfabe, because as a ref, who currently is in the ring, let's talk about kayfabe for a quick sec. So like how as a referee, what is it like with dealing with kayfabe, because you guys are actually in character in your own right. So what how do you deal, after learning about it now and actually being in the business and being a part of it? How does that transition go and like playing that kayfabe role as a referee?
Man, it's rough sometimes, man. 'Cause, I know the guys, and a lot of the time they'll try to break the ref. Like 99% of wrestlers out there will try to break the ref, like try to pop them in the ring by doing something stupid. If I gotta check their wrists and knee pads, they gonna do something stupid then, or just saying little stupid stuff in between. Like they try to get you to smile. I don't know, man. It's tough sometimes, man. Just trying to stay in that ref character, because ultimately, like, you're the enforcer, like you're the most legit guy in the ring. So you gotta like translate that to the crowd, and you just gotta be on it, man. This is especially with Victory, man. It's just so much going on. They got hard camps, and they got like 4 cameramen on the floor. You gotta try
Mhm.
to avoid them while still trying to work the hard cam and stay in
Yeah,
character.
yeah,
It's it's crazy, man.
I already know it, man. So like, and that's the crazy part, man. Because I know with that kayfabe, man, it's just like you got to try to separate and be like, wait, whoa, 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 hold on, I'm in character right now. This ain't real. Yeah,
Yeah,
but then you
yeah,
gotta make it look like it's real though,
yeah. You gotta
because
make
there's an audience that's like, yo, is this real? And they
like
gonna
it's
really
for
believe it's
real.
real. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So like,
you don't want to get heat on the ref, so
yeah,
yeah,
exactly. Yeah, and that's crazy, because I mean, when you think about all sports, and we'll get into that, man. When you think about referees in all sports and how that works, the
yeah.
fans definitely love to look at the referee as the ultimate heel sometimes, even though
Oh,
you
yeah.
guys are the biggest baby faces half the time
Right.
because you right there in the middle.
Nicest guy ever. They still want to yell at me if I done missed something, or if somebody kicked out. That was three. It was two.
Oh man, so okay, so you explained the basis of what got you into wrestling. Let's talk about how. So what transitioned you? So like obviously you stuck with it and it became your life, and it just so at this point, past the stage of being a kid into being a teenager, where oh man, is it still cool to watch this? Because coming from an era where I mean nowadays it's cool to like any and everything you do like, because society is like bump it. If that's what you love, that's what you love. Do
Yep.
you? But back then when we was coming up, man, you already know, man. Shoot, if we found out in your teenage years, like, oh man, you watch that wrestling stuff, bro. Man,
Yeah.
you was like, you know what I mean? You had to be kind of shy with it, and only you can only be yourself when you're around friends that actually understood what you understood, spoke the
And
language that you speak.
gotta
But
be a wrestling fan. Yeah.
exactly, so you got past that phase of life and all of that. So even in adulthood, so what really initiated you to want to get into the business, especially refereeing? Like, did you ever try to become a wrestler, or what made you go down the referee route?
Man, honestly, I just like fell into the referee route. Like, it's almost like a paying dues type deal. Cause, when you're a fan of something, like you just can't let it go. Then everybody got, the thought crossed their mind, like, oh man, maybe I should, go out to be a wrestler. I just want to be a part of business to begin with. And I wasn't getting no younger. Like, I'm in my 30s now.
Yeah.
So, and I started in my 30s. So I started relatively late. So my first step was doing a podcast. And when I got some traction, I seen a commentary spot open at VCW, because I know one of the guys there
Mhm.
who was a ref at the time. So I reached out to the promoter and said, I heard y'all looking for a commentator. He said, oh yeah, just show up Saturday this time. So I went up to the building, met Johnny Slaughter, big time legend in Alabama, who runs VCW, and I introduced myself. Told them what I was doing. Then a lot of the boys walked in. I met this cat named Big Smooth, who is, man, this dude right here, like he go crazy in that ring, man. This a 6'5", 385-pound dude that moves like a cruiserweight, and he's
Wow.
actually the champion right now. And I
Okay.
met all the guys, so now I went up to him. They told me, first thing Johnny told me, like, the biggest thing is, shake hands, introduce yourself. So anytime somebody walked in, hey, how you doing? I'm such and such. I'm trying not to be commentator.
Mhm.
And I started getting like looked at kind of sideways, because for one, they seen how big I was, so they're looking like, commentator. You need in the ring. So I'm thinking, I'm like, man, I'm in my 30s, man. I'm past all that. I'm just trying to get in the business somehow. So the dude, Scott Ressler, that's supposed to train me for commentary, he was running a little late. He had something going on in Birmingham.
Mhm.
So hey, the ring wide open. If you want to do some ring stuff, go ahead. So I
Yeah.
went in there. I hit the ropes. I bumped. I did a flip bump, which popped everybody, because they see this 300-pound dude do a flip bump, and they
Yeah.
said, bump that commentary. You about to be a wrestler. Like, after I bombed my commentary trial because I was terrible. I'm thinking, oh, I talk smack about wrestling all the time, but man, as soon as I put that headset on, I sucked. So I just enrolled in the academy and just training, as a wrestler, because refs and wrestlers go through like the same training anyway. So I'm just going through like the regular thing, and they needed a ref, so they're like, you want a ref? I'm like, cool, like. But as far as there, like, I did commentary. I ring announced. Like, they even wanted me to put a mask on and do a job. But the night I was gonna do that, that's an announcer couldn't show up. Hey, we need you to ring announce. Cool. So I pretty much paid my dues in a short period of time in the wrestling. Like, and I just fell into the position I am now, and I love it.
Love it. That is, man, that is amazing. And what I really like about you, man, is that you took the time to try out a lot of things because you represent a good representation of what it's like being a fan first and then slowly stepping into the business, getting your feet wet, like using your perspective as a fan, in the media world, and then going from that to the indies and saying, you know what, I'm gonna give this wrestling thing a try. And
Yeah.
I like how you mentioned, the first thing that stands out is how you were like, man, literally, I thought commentary was something I could do. That's just trash talk. That's punchlines and being able to just say whatever. Like, I could do that. You can come off the couch and do that. And then you
Yeah.
find out, wait, that's actually harder than I thought it was, and
Yeah.
it's not as easy as it looks. And then so you checked all these other ventures, but they see your frame, man, and so that goes to show that some of the politics of pro wrestling are still there. They see us big guys and they're like, hey, wait a minute, nah, you don't need to commentate, brother. You need to be up in this ring. Like, wait a minute, and so you gave it a little bit of everything a try. So what now? Let's talk about what with the ring announcing side.
Yeah.
Compared to, say, commentating, how much of a difference is the two as far
What's
as
up?
with your experience in ring announcing? How much is
Mm,
there a difference between that and, say, commentary from your experience personally?
man, it's different because ring announcements pretty much like to stick to your script, get the guy's name right, where they from, how much they weigh, all that good stuff, kind of work the crowd, the intermission, pushing merch and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I ain't gonna lie, I love ring announcing like that. Like my speed, like I love ring announcing. I got to go in there and put my little fake voice on and pop the crowd out there, and like I love ring announcing. I'm like, okay, I want to be a ring announcer then. But I've even done stuff like my second day there, like the sound guy couldn't make it. Hey, you're doing sound. You run the music today. I'm looking like, oh, all right. So
Yeah.
I done did music. I even like doing the music then. I just like being part of the business, man. But I like ring announcing. That's pretty fun.
Yes, yes, and you can just tell, man. Again, that's how you know that as fans we love what we do. Like when you've really been in this for so long, you can tell, and you're a living representation of that in the indie scene. And I can just tell by your energy already, man, that you really love and you're willing to try out whatever, however. You'd be like, hey, you need somebody to be part of the ring setup crew. All right, I'm down with it. Let's do it.
Oh,
Hey, you want a ring announcer? Let's do it. Referee. Hey, I got you. A
oh,
jobber. I'll job today. Why not? They can beat me up. I mean, like
I,
that is
I
so awesome.
times too. I don't put the little hood on, put my mask on, and went out there put somebody over.
Yeah,
When
yeah, yeah.
required.
That is awesome, man. So what initially got you to stick on the refereeing side more than anything? Because as we can see, you love the ring announcing side, but we see that as a ref, you really shine mostly when you in there and you ref. Like, what made you say, okay, I really really like refereeing?
I mean, like I ain't gonna lie. When they first told me they wanted me to be a ref, I'm like, I don't want to be a ref. Like I don't. I'm over there thinking I'm ready to be a ring announcer at this point. Like I sucked at commentary. I wouldn't even mind running music before I be a ref because I just know like how rough it was to be a ref. And then like once I got into it, they told me like they pretty much mapped out what they wanted me to do with Victory Championship Wrestling as far as
Mm-hmm.
being a ref and probably even transitioning into being like a wrestler there. So just like it's all a part of my paying dues part. So right now, like instead of complaining about it, I'm just enjoying every minute of it, just being a part of the business, just being in a locker room with the boys, setting up the ring, breaking down the ring. And since I was trained on sound, like I got double duty. I set up the ring and the sound sometimes. I'm just working the death over there, but it's all good, man.
Yeah, man, and that's pretty dope, man. Because again, like from what I hear, from what I've experienced, from what I've seen, they always say when you love the business, man, you'll do whatever. You'll literally whatever it is that they need for that particular night or that particular week, whatever the case is. If you're like, hey, I'll do it. That
Yeah,
it puts a lot of things in your perspective. Opens a lot of doors for you personally as someone who is in the business, but it also just shows people like he really loves this.
yeah,
And
it's
that is
crazy.
that is amazing, man. So let's talk about Victory Championship Wrestling for a second. Like let's
Sure.
talk about what so how long have they been a promotion? What got you into that door, of like walking into Victory Championship Wrestling? Any success stories from there? Like has anybody currently been in any of the bigger promotions that you know of so far that's been working their way up so far?
Yeah, Victory Championship Wrestling, man, is real unique. Like the promotion itself been around 2 years. It used to be called something else, and then they branched off and started doing their own thing. And I got into it like my homeboy. He's a wrestler now, Roma Miller. He used to be a ref there, and now he's like out, working other promotions in the Indies. We used to be co-workers, so he told me about it, and I go to the gym with one
Hmm.
of the guys, and we were just talking about just my homeboy Damon Taz. I just asked him where he get his weightlifting belt from. So then we started talking about wrestling. Then I heard about Victory again. I'm like, man, something telling me to go to Victory. Like I don't know what I'm gonna do there, but I'm just gonna go there. Then I went there, met Johnny Slaughter. They had just started the Victory Wrestling Academy, and so I fell in like right at the right time because I get to go in there and train with them. And like Johnny's like one of the best workers. Like I hate to be putting them over right now because I'm kind of on TV. I got heat with them. Like we hate each other guts right now on TV.
Yeah.
Outside in the shoot world, I love them. But on TV, I'm gonna probably slap them. But other than that, and like it's they got the Alabama Hall of Fame, like they sponsored that. And as far as some of the guys they got there, like I said, Big Smooth, he's on his way. That's what I'm gonna actually be aligned with in the future. I don't want to get no spoiler reports, but
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
Big Smooth's the one, and we got you remember Bull Buchanan from back in the day?
Yeah, yeah,
All right,
absolutely.
his son trains with us at Victor.
Wow.
Like his son Ben is like this massive kid, like 6'4", 240, like a complete stud. And he trained
Ah,
there. He doing his thing there. Like my
okay.
first tryout, I met Bull Buchanan. He got in the ring with me and said, "Hey, me and you, let's lock up." I'm looking like, my brother only been doing this for an hour, but I did that, and like there's a lot of success stories. Like our new episode now, we had our first women's main event with Shalandra Royale, Double D Rose, and Deity.
Okay.
They are based out of Georgia as well, and like we just had like a lot of good people come through. Especially like for our Hall of Fame ceremonies, we had Arn Anderson last year, so that's
Yeah.
cool.
Now, I'm glad you mentioned that Hall of Fame ceremony there. I was on a podcast a while back, and we were actually talking about wrestling's Hall of Fame.
Hmm.
And I would love to get your perspective on this as someone who's like working in the indie scene, and because we were curious actually, because as you know, the WWE has their Hall of Fame.
Hmm.
And as we know, it's the most known Hall of Fame because of the status WWE has.
Yeah.
However, it's not technically necessarily an official Hall of Fame like say Canton for the NFL and like how you have the basketball Hall of Fame, the baseball Hall of Fame, but it's pretty much viewed as that because it's WWE, so everybody
Yeah.
knows WWE. But as a person who represents Victory Championship Wrestling and seeing that they have a Hall of Fame, from your experience and just knowing people in the indies, are a lot of indie promotions just kind of doing their own Hall of Fames like that people just don't know about unless they're like actually in the indie business or
Well, it's not real like it's not the VCW Hall of Fame. It's like the Alabama Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame, and they're just like one of the driving forces behind it, like getting that started. So when they do have a Hall of Fame ceremony, like we're the show that comes on after that. So it's really the Alabama Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame because
Okay.
just like in a lot of territories, you have like a lot of big names, like somebody who did their thing here who didn't make it to the big stage. Or like I said, we had Arn Anderson last year. He's I didn't know he started his career in Alabama, so he's a driving force. Bull Buchanan's an Alabama Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Daphne from WCW, she's in there, and
Wow.
one of my trainers, Joshua O'Hagan, like that
Ouch.
dude. Yeah, he has a strong mind for the business, and this little blow up drills make me hate his guts sometimes, but I love him. So he a real good dude. So it's real that Alabama Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame, and we just like one of the driving forces behind it. Like we was gonna have Austin Idol this year, but plans got slowed down because everything going on. So I'm glad they still getting the ball rolling on that because the WWE Hall of Fame is one thing, but for some of the guys that never made it there, if they started out in Alabama, they could get in that Hall of Fame, and like it's real prestigious to them.
Wow, and that's awesome because you give me something as a journalist, man. You're giving me something to research there because we were actually discussing that back and forth because and shout out to the producer Derek. He got the mic on mute, but I'm gonna call out his theory real quick because he mentioned literally like that he felt like there should be a Hall of Fame that's like a legit pro wrestling Hall of Fame for those that WWE probably doesn't recognize for whatever reason, or whether it be because of something controversial they did outside of the ring, but just if you go off of their in-ring career, just based off of their resume in the ring, not who they are probably outside of the ring, just legit, like, somebody that, I'm trying to think, there's so many names that come to mind because when you think about WWE's Hall of Fame and you're like, wow, they didn't make it in,
Yeah.
because I love the idea of what you said, like with Alabama, like somebody like a Bull Buchanan, like, how mainstream wrestling fans, especially if they're fans of WWE, they may not remember like how we remember, like, oh yeah, I remember Bull Buchanan. Yeah, I remember, like, man, he was teaming up with the big boss, man. That dude was a stud. Like how you
Oh,
talk about his son, I'm not surprised because he was a stud. Like, and he had potential to be that guy in WWE. And for whatever reason, it seemed like once they paired him up with Cena in that rapper stage,
yeah.
and some people may barely remember that. It's like somehow, some way, once they starred Cena and gave him the rocket, like Bo Buchanan
Yeah.
was kind of left in the dust. So,
Yeah.
of course WWE wouldn't put him in their Hall of Fame per
Mm,
se, but Alabama's gonna do that because hey, we know you made it to the WWF, man. You did big things out here. And you
yeah.
grind. You got to the big deal.
He
So
made them a lot of money too when he was working down here too. So that's
yeah.
I guess with the Hall of Fame, like it's really got to be like these states, like until they get like a big like pro wrestling Hall of Fame where they could do everybody. It's just
Hmm.
gonna have to be with these territories. Like it's gonna have to be one for Georgia, gonna have to be one for Florida. Like
Yeah.
pretty much all over until because right now, Vince, he got the money, so of course, the WWE Hall of Fame is, and even if they started one now, like they should have did that a long time ago, so it can at least be
I
like on
agree.
the same level, because they ain't gonna have the same resources to have one like that. So
Yes.
WWE is the big stage, but like a lot of these territories, they can do the same. Like they could, I know they got some in Georgia and Florida, like them
Yeah.
areas. So like start a Hall of Fame there. Like it's some rich people in these states, like they could
Oh yeah.
sponsor Hall of Fame. So you
Yeah.
know what's gonna be, and then like when they do have actual Hall of Fame, then they can
Hmm.
come back and they can take these classes from here, kind
Yeah.
of merge them, because
Virgin, man. Yeah. I love that, man. I love that, and I totally agree with you there because I really think that's like something they should definitely do. I mean, it's really something, and I say to anybody listening, promoters, talent, whatever, keep pitching that idea, man. Like wherever your prospective state is, if they don't have one, man, like get behind some connections and tell people, hey, we need a statewide pro wrestling Hall of Fame,
yeah.
because everybody's not gonna make it to WWE's Hall of Fame, man, because they're gonna overlook them, or like I think of like D'Lo Brown, for example. D'Lo Brown's a
Yeah,
perfect example to me. Like it's a crime to me how he's not in the Hall of Fame yet.
he
You
needed
know,
Hall of Fame. Honestly, I think he's gonna get in because they're gonna end up like inducting the whole nation. So that's big.
yeah. I was thinking that too. I was like, the only way he would get in there at this point, if it's not going to be for his solo accomplishments, like the nation for sure, because you're not going to tell me they're not going to put the nation in the Hall of Fame.
And
when
that's
they
how.
had Farouk, The
Mhm.
Rock, and Mark Henry, and The
Yeah.
Godfather.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
And that's how you get the Rock in 2 times. That's how you get Mark Henry in 2 times.
Yeah.
Godfather 2 times.
Yep.
Ron Smith 2 times. So
Uh-huh.
it's all over. So that's how D'Lo gonna get in. I feel.
Yeah, yeah, I agree, man, and I really hope so because again, we saw that happen with China. You know, China wasn't. People wanted her in the Hall of Fame so bad, you know,
Mhm.
because of what she did before there was a women's revolution. You know,
Oh,
and the fact that we get what she had outside of her character, you know, we get that, but like she deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, and so
I,
she somewhat got that justice through D Generation X, but
yeah. I want that solo spot though, man. Like,
yeah, me too, man. And that's why I said like one day somehow if it had like you said with territories, if it has to just be statewide right now based off of what pro wrestler brought what state territory so much more money with their accomplishments, something, man. Let's just keep that thing going until we get a big nationwide main Hall of Fame for
yeah.
those who don't get recognition because I brought up the point personally. I said like it's crazy because in WWE, Vince has the rights to ECW and WCW. So
Yeah.
it's a little tough to
Yeah.
try to have a Hall of Fame go up against that when they got the library to all of that. They darn near have some of TNA's library too.
Mhm.
So it's kind of like, oh man, how do you do this, right? But I really do hope AEW is too young of a company to do their own right now.
Mhm.
And Impact Wrestling has a Hall of Fame, but it seems like nobody seems to take it serious right now for some
Yeah.
reason. So it's a little tough, man. So I really do hope to see that, man. But I'm happy that you told me about Alabama's because I'm definitely going to see what I can dig up and try to write about, man, just to try to pitch it out, man, and just keep that idea alive because wrestling needs a Hall of Fame outside of WWE.
Oh
That's
yeah.
it's a fact. We
Yeah,
they,
they got a website and everything, man. I was doing my research on them like before I joined, and of course after I joined, I started doing more research on Victory just because I'm around the boys, and I got to get to know them. So they got some good people down there, man.
Yeah, yeah, I agree, man. And it sounds dope, man. Well, tell people exactly how they can check out Victory World. Like, are they current, in a social media like world now where things are more social media oriented? Like, are they broadcasting on YouTube? Do they have a local network? How will people, even if you're not in Alabama, like, how would you catch it if you wanted to check out Victory Championship Wrestling?
All right, so this gonna be a little long-winded because Victory Championship Wrestling, man, they got a lot going on. Like to me, they're like one of the most well-produced, like independent shows, and like this night, okay, I can start with the TV stuff. Like we come on locally in Northeast Alabama on FNN channel 24, but we also got a YouTube channel, Victory Championship Wrestling. We come on Fight TV, that app.
Oh
You
yeah, yeah,
can
yeah.
like
Uh huh.
we're on there. We got a Instagram VCW Action. We got like 2 pages on Facebook. We got the Victory Championship Wrestling page, and we got the Victory Championship Wrestling fan club page. And that's it about social media. And with Victory Championship Wrestling, like we're kind of our own territory. We have Victory Championship Wrestling in Georgia, and we're about to start Victory Championship Wrestling in Florida too. So Victory Championship Wrestling Georgia might has a web page on Facebook and everything. Like it's just like I was like my mind was blown when I like went there. Like, I'm like, man, y'all got a lot going on. It's a territory within, and Cassandra Golden that's been on AEW.
Yes,
Like
yes.
she's the VCW Georgia Women's Champion.
Wow, that's crazy. I got to see her live at Impact Wrestling too, man. I
Yeah,
really enjoyed her work with Kylie Ray, man. Like she was taking it to her, man. Like she was taking. I'm mad that they kind of, I mean, I get it. It's kind of part of, the come up anyway. But I was mad to see her when I saw her on AEW. I got hyped, like, okay, yeah, I saw her
yeah,
live, man. Like I thought she was gonna give a nice little contest with Britt Baker, but I see what they doing. They building up Britt Baker to look, like dominant. I get it. So I was like, oh, okay, that's messed up. Just like don't even let her get any offense in. Just
yeah,
squash her like that. But I get it. It's part of the business. So,
yeah.
but she's making come up, man. I love what she's doing, and I actually follow her on Instagram now, man. So I really hope when things are back to normal, that she continues to grind and get even higher, man. Next level, I feel like I'm gonna see her on NXT somewhere. Definitely doing some stuff too. So I can't wait.
Yeah, I hope so. I ain't even. I'm still waiting to meet her now. Like when I got on, like that's when she started doing the AEW stuff. So I ain't met her yet. No, I have met Shalondra Royale. She's very nice and like real sweet girl, and I think she's gonna be climb up in the ranks soon, as well as Double D Rose, who started out in A4 in Atlanta. Like
Yeah,
she really good too. Real
yeah,
cool people, man. So I'm glad I ran into the people I have. You know, I wanted to meet these people too, because I'm like I'm not too big on the indie scene, but I definitely keep up. I know what's going on. I know who's who. So
yeah,
I'm excited to meet them and just like I said, seeing Cassandra on Impact. We even seen Mike Jackson, the 70-year-old that went against Johnny Swinger. He's been to victory a few times. He's in the Alabama Hall of Fame now. He got inducted last year. And so just seeing all these people do their thing, like it's pretty cool to me.
yeah, man, no doubt. And Double D Rose, I'm glad you mentioned her. She was another name that I was definitely familiar with and checking out. And I'm like you, man. You know, the indie scene is it's a lot of times it's so hard to keep up with because there's so much wrestling going on that it's like you try, you really do, you try, but it's like a lot of times for me, I have to either catch it through some of my hardcore wrestling fans that I know, like friends that I know who have like a whole full, their crews, like they're fans, and they got a crew. They go to every indie show. I was trying to attend more indie shows, and then the Corona hit.
Yeah.
So now when Corona ends, my plan is definitely hit more Georgia. I want to check out Mucha Lucha. Out in the Norcross area, we live here in Atlanta, so I want to go check out Mucha Lucha. I heard a lot about that. Pentagon Jr. and
Yeah.
Phoenix and all of them were coming out of there. Rey Mysterio's, I believe Rey Mysterio's nephew, who goes by son of Rey Mysterio,
Okay.
wrestles up there. So I'm definitely trying to check out more of these indie from those. Danny Jordan is also somebody else I want to check
Oh,
out.
yeah.
She's been rising up the ranks pretty well too. I see, so I definitely want to catch her before she blows up. And yeah, man, it's a lot to keep up with, but I promise it's definitely it's something cool seeing the indies, man, and seeing the grind. I compare pro wrestling, and I'm sure you can relate to this because me being not just a host but an artist as well, a music artist, I always compare pro wrestling, the industry, to the music industry. I mean, it's a constant grind of like you are grinding and grinding and grinding and getting yourself out there until people really notice, like, yo, this person's really good, man. Look
Yeah.
out for this person, and then you get where you want to get, the contracts come, and then before you know it, you blowing up. So it's crazy how those it's got its politics,
Yeah.
and it's also got its grind, where you just, hey, you got to work and work.
Yeah.
Um, so with you, man, let's talk about because Victory Championship Wrestling is definitely something I'm gonna keep tabs on. And the way you explain it, man, they sound like they're grinding, and
Oh,
it's
they
it they
are.
grinding. Like I
Yeah.
love that. And you mentioned territory, so talk to the people about who don't know about the history of pro wrestling, because territories were a big thing in the 60s, 70s, 80s, even before Vince McMahon Jr., as we
Mm.
know, big, before he took over and just was like, screw that, I'm gonna, because back in the day, territories were like divided up in the states. It was different parts of the states that were like, hey, we run pro indies, and they would trade with other promotions and be like, hey, other territories like, hey, we need some new talent for our local television. We'll trade a few people to y'all. Y'all bring a couple people over here, this and that. And then Vince came in and just was like, screw all of that. I want everybody from everywhere. But territories, believe it or not, most of them got swept up by that WWF brand of that up north, northeast territory style. But
Yeah.
like territories, especially in the deep south, are still somewhat of a thing.
Yeah.
So what have you seen, learned, and experienced about the art of territories?
Um, like kind of being in one right now, I never thought I'd just kind of like jump all into a territory in my first try. But it's like, like the history of territories. I know the history, how, everything was just the National Wrestling Alliance. Then you had Championship Wrestling from Georgia, and you had Florida, then you had the people in Texas. They all come together and have one champion. And that's kind of like what we do in the VCW, like before they had Georgia and now Florida coming soon. Like they had their own territory. They had Out of This World Pro Wrestling,
Mm-hmm.
Zero Alliance, and Continental Wrestling. This is all before I got there, and that's how they would do it. Like just this is not like the actual territory, like how it used to be back in the day. It's like, they trying to kind of create one within Alabama, just like try to keep it going, like just give people something to look forward for. Like, I can't wait till I start working Georgia shows. I can't wait till I start working Florida shows, just like stuff like that, while still remaining in the same company and still could like do other shows in the future. So like the territory is definitely a lost art form. It's an important art form, especially like
Yeah.
nowadays. You need like as an independent wrestler, you want to be on many shows as you can. And since like Victory, since we have a TV show, since we're so well produced, like we get a lot of people like trying to come wrestle for us just so they could be on TV. And people know the indie payday ain't that great, but they want to
Yeah.
be on TV so they can build their resume up. So when they do start shopping, they building their resume up for NXT or WWE. They're like, okay, I could put the link to my match here, a link to my promo. Like we give them a hard drive with all their stuff on it so they can get their pictures and everything. So like VCW is like they setting it up because Johnny he got that WWE mentality. Cause he did like some matches for them back in the day, like on Velocity and all that stuff.
Uh-huh.
So it's his whole mentality about the business. Like he puts that into his company now, which kind of makes it stand out because a lot of people just like, okay, we're just gonna set this ring up, put up some ropes, and just put on the show. But
Yeah.
he got entrance ways, like it's taking a long time to set all that stuff up. But when you see the finished product, like I enjoy it. Like it's just amazing to be a part of it. And I'm glad I'm experiencing all this now. Cause like I said, I'm in my 30s, so I ain't got much time left to begin with in wrestling. So I'm kind of experiencing everything on my first run. And it's crazy. It's a blessing, really.
Yeah, man. And we had our truth on the show, man, and he was actually talking about just the fact that you're never honestly too old to do anything that you love to do.
That's true.
And when we got to talk to him about his music, literally he was just saying the same thing, like how his music's just been popping, and he's been doing music for years. Music got him
Yeah.
into wrestling, and the fact that it's like, man, you even though you don't look your age one bit, we to those who are real fans of yours, we know how old you are, man, and it's like you yeah, you know what I'm saying, and it's like, man, we know how old you are, but yet you looking as young as ever, and you out here like doing it. So it's an inspiration, man, to see, and DDP, Diamond Dallas Page, is another prime example of like you're never too old to step foot into this business, man. A lot of times we see the stories of a lot of wrestlers like a Rey Mysterio or someone like that we've known, Eddie Guerrero, Chavo Guerrero, like all of those who have started, even Chris Benoit, when we found out about his backstory, and some of these wrestlers over the years, Chris Jericho, how they started at like age 15, 16, 17, 9 even, and you're like, wow, you've been wrestling that long, and you think to yourself, well, man, I'm 25, or man, I'm 30, or man, I'm 35. Like, there's no way I can get into business if they started at that young of an age. Like, yeah, and that's what I love about pro wrestling. Unlike a NBA or an NFL where you hit a certain age mark and you think automatic, like, yeah, I can play, I got a jumper, I can shoot, but shoot, I ain't good enough to be in the NBA. I'm too old for that. Them young boys, you know what I'm saying? They hopping and jumping. I can't do that. I can't join the NFL. Like, yeah, I got some strength, I got some speed on me, but nah, man, I'm a little too old, man. Ain't no team gonna invest no money in me. You know what I mean? I'm just gonna be a little backup, if that. Like practice squad maybe. So, but in the world of the indies, in the world of pro wrestling, it just seems ageless almost. You know what I mean? You could be darn near 80 and you still got a role somewhere, whether it's being a manager, a commentator, whatever. And maybe even just a behind the scenes guy doing production. There's so many different roles that you can do in the world of professional wrestling, so there's never an age limit. And I like that, in hearing your story with that, man. So with territories, now you being under, VCW, obviously they got it every lane covered. You know what I'm saying? Social media, television, local television, all of that. But that of, are there any other territories that may not have the television deals, but they are killing it in the social media market? Because we see that now wrestling's evolved to a point where like you can be noticed anywhere, anyhow. Like MLW, for example, we had Selena De La Renta on here, and MLW is only a 2-year promotion. They're not even all that old, and we see they popping with
Yeah,
strictly YouTube viewership, you know?
yeah.
So from what you know of, man, have you heard of any promotions that are kind of doing like MLW and they're like, man, hey, we don't even, nobody's really watching TV like that anyway. I mean, yeah, network deals are good money wise, but
Yeah,
hey, we got our fan base killing right now through YouTube.
yeah.
Like,
The one I see, like the biggest one, like territory, like for real outside of ours, that I just see like just doing their thing. It's
mhm,
probably the WWN, the World Wrestling Network. Like
mhm,
that's where they got the Mucha Luchas and Evolve and WWA 4 and
yeah,
what's that? And it's down in Florida. It's like ACW, something like they got like their whole little territory thing going on down there. And of course, like Evolve, it's like the big stage. That's where everybody go to because what's after Evolve, NXT, and all that good stuff. So
yeah,
WWN is probably like probably the most successful territory going on because, like I said, in a lot of these schools, like WWA 4, that's a part of that territory. If you
mhm,
join their schools, then you could get bookings at these shows like Mucha Lucha. Like we get a lot of A4 guys down at VCW, and a lot of them, since they come from A4, they're part of the WWN. So they doing shows in Florida. They got guys that's been on Evolve shows, all that good stuff. So like it's like the territory system, like I said, it works wonders, especially nowadays. But
yeah.
WWE are like the most popping one.
Wow, yeah, that's crazy, man. Just to know the history behind that. So, you know, and reverting this back to you, basically, man. At the end of the day, given the things that you have done, the research you've made, the knowledge you've given yourself, what is, as a ref, what is the hardest part? Because I know from personal, like as a fan, I
Mm-hmm.
remember literally like my cousin when they were into wrestling, you know, they like we came up like wrestling at the same time, but I stuck with it. Not so much with them, maybe on occasion here and there out of nostalgia, but like they don't stick with it as much as I do. But
Mm-hmm.
like I remember they used to be like, one of my cousins was like, man, that's one job I'd love to have. That's got to be the easiest job you could ever make some money with, man.
Yeah.
Just sitting there making some, you know, like
Oh,
ignorant thinking
trust
like that. You know, we young, we young thinking that. We in like 15, 16, 17 thinking that. You know, you thinking like, oh yeah, that is an easy job. Like, man, they can't be doing. They just making calls, you know, and this and that. We know
me.
it's staged. We like, oh okay, yeah, that got to be some easy money. But now that you've been on the indies, you probably had a similar thought to that maybe once upon a time too. So like, what what is the hardest part of being a referee in the square circle?
Well, for one, I ain't think it was easy. Like that's the main reason I didn't want to be a ref because I knew how hard it looked on there. Like I done ref matches,
Mhm.
and after the match is done, I'm over there sweating like I done took a backdrop or something. Just like I just knew how rough it was. But the hardest part about being a ref to me is just like just making everything seem legit. Like when you're a ref, like you're like probably like the most important person in the ring because it's your job to protect what's going on. And a lot of the times, like since we're doing more of like a shoot style now, like a lot of refs, like including me, like I don't even get the finish from a lot of these guys. Like they'll like someone would tell me, okay, this is gonna be the finish, so I know what to look out for. But a lot of times I don't know the finish, so that kind of creates that realness. So if I'm over there counting and I'm about to hit and they pop up, okay, that seems real. Because if I know the finish and go down, I'm a stall, and they could have changed it up, and I'm looking like, I done exposed the business real, and I'm gonna get reamed out in the back by damn Bobby Matthews because
Uh
he's
huh.
a commentator and he's like the head ref guy and a production agent back there. So it's so the technical aspect of it as well as the physical, like drop downs, like dropping down and counting the cadence of the ring and the cadence of the count, and just I don't know, like it's like ref. They like we got psychology too. Like they got different psychology too, and it's like it's rough because when you're a wrestler, you go in there and do one thing. You wrestle, do your psychology self, but ref, man, you gotta do like everything into one, and then you might even have to take a bump every now and again. But
Yeah.
it's rough just try to protect what's going on, like not expose them, because like if the ref botch, which I have before,
Mhm.
it's so blatantly noticeable, like as opposed to a wrestler botching. If
Mhm.
I botch, I swear I botched my last match I had. I botched, and it seemed like time stood still. I'm like, oh shit. it, it's so it's horrible, but just making everything seem legit and real, cause like the ref, we supposed to be the most legit person in there and just like calling it down the middle. And yeah, it's a psychology thing, man. It's rough, but it's also fun too. But it's rough.
Yeah, yeah, and you can tell, man, from stories, you can tell they have fun as referees
Oh
as
yeah,
well. Referees have just as much fun as the talent, making jokes, communicating, stuff like that. So, with refs, it's funny you mentioned Botch because I'm pretty sure you might have seen it. It happened some episodes ago. It was right around WrestleMania weekend, not weekend, but like leading up to WrestleMania, and there was a match. I believe it was Andrade. It was Andrade and Angel Garza. Yeah, they were going against Cedric Alexander, and I forget who his partner was. I forgot who his partner was, but they were. I just remember Cedric actually took the pinfall. Like he caught a mean elbow from Andrade, and he took the pinfall, and like and the ref like botched the count. It looked like because like Cedric, you couldn't tell like it paused where he was like, wait, was that three? What was that? Like he was like, wait a minute, what just happened? And like your commentary is just playing it as professional as they could. And I caught it and I had to put, every now and then on Life's a Botch, I try to have fun on IG. Now I try to, find a cool little botch I spot and just, make some fun out of it. Just because I'm like, hey, Life's a Botch. That's the point of the show, to let y'all know it's not just in ring. We all mess up. We all botch in life. You know what I mean? With anything. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's like, you got to learn to laugh at it, make fun of it, and correct it. That's the point of mistakes, right? And so, what's from your memory? Like you just actually shared one. Was there any other funny bots that you remember in your career so far as a referee?
Like my first match I did is a guy wearing a mask. He was going against my boy Justin Flo, and I guess he couldn't hear me counting because like they didn't tell me to finish. But key thing about being a ref is like the guys, it's almost like when the finish is coming. Like, okay, he's not gonna beat him on no drop kick or nothing like that. So it's like you kind of get a feel for when the finish is. So he went down. I'm over there counting. I guess he couldn't hear me through the mask. So I'm like 1, 2, went down and like almost there and stalled. He just kind of, and then I ended up getting yelled at for it because they're like, man, I'm like, screw him. If his shoulder down, count to 3. I don't care how bad it look. This stuff like that. So that's my first botch in that same match. When the finish was Justin has like this DDT, and when he did the DDT, the dude's mask flew right off. And then, so I had to 1, 2, 3. I had to like try to get the mask and get him in the back, cover his face, to do something, man. So I had a wild first match, and then like young in the game, I did a triple threat match, and that was all over the place too.
Oh wow, yes, man, that is crazy. I believe it, especially because it's probably one thing to do one-on-one matches, but then when you're talking about matches that are fatal four-ways, triple threats, dare I say a Money in the Bank ladder match where it's like 6 of them, like
I would probably cry when I did my first triple threat match. I ain't know nothing about triple threat matches from other than when I see on TV. So one guy got hit, he done got out the ring. I'm over there 1, 2. He like, ain't no count out. So triple threats. So like, had to act like I ain't do that.
You see, it's the things where you watch it on TV and then you have to try to. It's crazy, man. And I'm
like, dang, I never seen a countdown on triple threat. I guess I should have asked that before.
yeah, and it's so crazy because it's not just pro wrestling referees. Being a referee in general is not as easy as it looks, and people don't really understand that. No matter what sport it is. I remember intramural sports, man. I was in intramural sports in college, and like I had a friend who was a referee with intramural basketball, and like they told me they had tryouts and they were looking for some referees to hire. You got paid. I was like, oh yeah, get paid to be a referee? Shoot, yeah, But then I went to the tryout and I was like, why you gotta try out to be a referee though? I was like, hold on. And then they gave us this paper and it showed all the different signals, when you call foul, 5 seconds, 8 seconds. I was like, wait, so I gotta remember to do all of this. And I was like, dang, no wonder these basketball players be complaining at the refs. I was like, okay. Same thing in football. It's like, oh, no wonder they complaining about calls and flags. Like, you gotta really pay attention. And then on top of that, you gotta remember what signal you calling if you calling a foul. So same case with WWE, any referees, man. In pro wrestling, man, being a referee, Just like any other sport, it is not an easy job. So
Ooh,
respect to the referees, please. Respect
please
to
show
the
respect,
referees.
man. It's hard out there.
It's hard, man. So let's talk about we've seen the emergence of women, female referees really making strides right now, both in AEW, WWE, Impact, a little bit of everywhere, man, throughout the entire pro wrestling family. As a man, what is your perspective on the female referee right now, man? Like, where do you sit on them?
I mean, I think it's dope. Like, why not, man? Give everybody a chance. Give us a chance to rest sometimes. You know,
Yeah,
and the female, they way more feisty than the men. I said they not finna let nothing fly. So they'll get you in a heartbeat. So they probably the most legit ones you want in that ring because they
yeah,
not nothing slide. They not easily intimidated. None of that. So I
yeah,
think it's real dope. And plus, it gives women like another lane as well, like to try to pursue their dream. Just like with Aja Smith. You know, she's a
yeah,
big time indie wrestler down here, and
yeah.
now you know, she seen that lane to be a ref in NXT
She
and took
took
it.
it. Yeah, she took it.
And she, like, I'm sure she wanted to be a wrestler as well, because you know, she's a great
She's a
wrestler.
beast. Yeah, she
Yeah.
is. She's a
So,
beast.
but you know, she's seeing opportunities like to be like, why be another, you know, wrestler, especially another black wrestler, when I could be the first black female referee. So
Yeah.
she's real smart in that aspect. So shout out to Aja.
Yeah, Aja, man, Aja Smith, keep doing what you're doing. We definitely see you. I remember when I saw the special, from the WWE PC YouTube and watched that, and I really enjoyed that. And hopefully one day, someday soon, we can get her on the show and just use that for a Black History episode because that's you're right, that's some serious history,
Right.
especially for that level to have never seen it. So shout out to the women. Not just in the referee world, but anywhere in the world, making
Yeah.
strides and making history, man. It's look, we need y'all. We appreciate y'all. That's real. We like, like you said, extra help, especially if you're doing it a little bit better than we do or whatever, or maybe better. Hey, we appreciate you for that. Legit. So I got a question for you on this one, man. If you had to name a top 5 all time on some of your favorite referees in the business,
Ooh,
who would your top 5 be? I know it's a tough choice because there's a lot. We talking about a lot of eras here.
yeah.
You know,
Um,
who are your top referees right now killing it?
I'm after. It ain't gonna be in no order. I'm just gonna name 5 people. It ain't gonna be like no.
Yeah.
So you know, historically, of course, I gotta go like with Earl Hebner, and
Yes.
I
Okay.
gotta go with Mike Chioda
Yes. Okay. Yes.
out there. Charles Robinson, love Charles Robinson.
Oh, yes. Charles Robinson. Great brother. I met him after a Monday. Was that Raw? It was SmackDown. It was a SmackDown show last year. And I just saw how hard he was working, like disassembling the ring and he was giving, people with some fans with there. He would wave, smile, and all that, but he was moving. So I was just like,
Yeah.
wow. And that was my first time seeing him outside of the referee aspect. But I remember hearing how hard of a worker he was in the
Oh,
business, and I saw that first front row and center, and I was just like, I love Charles Robinson, man.
yeah,
But yeah,
Charles.
who?
Tim White. I used to watch
Oh, okay.
Big in the back, and like I guess 5 wouldn't be enough because I guess I got a whole bunch of other people, but like the 5th one, you know, since I've been having some heel antics lately, I got to go with Nick Patrick. That was like the ultimate heel ref in WCW.
Oh, Nick Patrick.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, Nick Patrick. That is a dope top 5. Me and you were eye and eye on that because most of those were Nick Patrick was. I actually was gonna put Teddy. I was gonna put Teddy Long right there. You know
Oh
what I'm
yeah,
saying?
oh
I was
Ted.
gonna put Teddy Long right there in that
Yeah.
top 5. You know what I'm saying? Represent for the culture one time, man. I had to put my boy Teddy in there, man. Like
I
people
almost
get
forgot he was a ref. I'm so used to him being like such a,
the
you
general.
know, an
That's
adult
I
authority
know the
figure.
general
Yeah.
manager, but people forget, man. He came from the. Hey, man,
He,
I ain't even gonna call that the bottom. I'm just saying he came up, man. He was
he
refing
came
first. You know what I'm
exactly.
saying?
Cause when I seen him ref at WWE, well back when the WWF, there's a referee Teddy Long. You know me, I've been watching wrestling for a long time. I'm like Teddy Long, talking about dude with the do rag from WCW that used to be with Ron Simmons. Like no, it ain't him.
Yeah, I know, man. It's crazy how that transition goes, man. But that's the beauty of the business. Just the fact that you can be a manager, you can go from being a manager to a ref, be a
Yeah,
ref, and then next thing you know, you a general manager of a show,
yeah.
and then you famous
His,
for that, to where people forgot your other come up. You
his
know?
story his story was amazing. I love hearing his story, how he started in wrestling business, just pretty much starting out as somebody that's just getting food for the boys, and then as a ref, then on their talent, and back to a ref, then general manager, Hall of Famer. Like I love his story.
Yes, yes, man. And even with Tim White, that was another good one. I'm glad you brought him up because I was like, I feel like he's super underrated as a ref, man. Like, I don't know if people remember his time when he was refereeing. Like, Tim
Yeah,
White was killing out there,
it's like back in the day, like that's pretty much all I remember. Like those, like these are throwback names I'm naming. Charles
man.
Robinson still doing his thing.
Yeah, yeah, man. And I mean, that's why I said shout out to the referees in the business, man, and the ones that are coming up. Like I said, your come up referees, your Aubrey Edwards, your Asia White, all of them. Like, I mean, there's so many. Like you said, it's hard to name everybody because there's so many of them out there. But we commend every single referee out there in the business that does it. And even like I said, indie level,
Yeah,
mainstream level, it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? We
I got
appreciate.
some levels on there too.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead and give an indie top five. It could be current or it could just be from what you know all time and your indie knowledge. Like, give a top five real quick in the indie scene.
Top five indie scenes. Darrell Shaw, Darrell Shaw, Darrell Shaw.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Okay. I see you.
I wouldn't even call me top, but like the main ones I like for real, like an indie scene, like I've seen Mike Posey, who's been everywhere. Mike Posey, he been on WWE, ECW, like the Resurgence. I see him on NWA Power a lot. Just seen him on Impact, AEW, like Mike Posey. He's like the
Okay.
ultimate ref. And then my guy, my mentor in the game before I double crossed him, Cowboy Troy Fortenberry out here in Alabama. He's like a referee legend down here. So like those were like my really only two I got for real indie level. Like I'm so new to the scene, so I'm pretty much the ones I name is like the ones I ran into for real. If that makes sense.
Hey, well, that's still a dope list, though. I mean, just even from ones you ran into and experience and just seeing hands on and learning because you're never too old to learn things. You're never too young.
Cool.
And that's the beauty of the business. Like they said, you never stop learning. You are always learning as you grow, man. But that's a dope top five on both accounts, both indie and mainstream level, man. I really enjoyed that, man. So I guess this is where we will go ahead and just move on to the next segment of the show because for the
Yep.
most part, you just showed off everything in the business. I hope everybody listening has really taken in that knowledge from a rest perspective to go, like I said, Joe come up alone, man, going from
That's
fan
it.
to podcaster to referee, ring announcer, somewhat of a commentator, you know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
a little bit of
Yeah.
everything, a jack
That
of
that
all trades.
pod, that podcast thing, boy, that's a whole nother beast right there. I'm sure you can relate with that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Look, it ain't easy to do what we do either, man. A lot of people think it's, oh, you just talk and you did it. No, it's formats and levels to this, baby. You gotta really do what you can. So
And
shout
I can
out to my
tell with
fellow.
you,
Yeah,
I can tell what you like is rough because I can tell what you like. We want to be unique. It's like thousands of wrestling podcasts out there. Like, and
yeah,
they all like for the most part, a lot of them like do the same thing, recaps.
yeah.
Talk smack here, talk smack there, trash and wrestling or whatever. But I can tell with your show, like you want to be real unique about how you go with stuff. A lot of people they depend on interviews and all that stuff. And I know
Yeah.
you could do a whole show without an interview just off your
Oh, yeah.
personality alone and doing stuff like you want to be unique. And that's like what I'm doing with my show. Like
Yeah.
I want to be unique. Like I don't think I got a recap on there. Period. I'm the type of dude like hey, what's your top 50 wrestling video games? Just like stuff like that.
Come
Like
on, man.
I'm,
Come
I'm,
on.
I'm doing it for the fans, and I'm also doing it for the boys because I talk a lot of smack about the smarts. So I'm just also shut up and watch wrestling type tip with mine. But
Oh yeah, yeah. Hey, you know what? It's cool, man. I've been the same way. No lie. I was starting off that way a little bit too. Like, all right, I'm gonna do the little trash talk a little bit too. But even then, it was still just respectable because like guys like you and me, man, we still even before, and I haven't even really tried to get my feet inside of the business per se like that yet. But it's like I still understand the level of hey, respect everybody what you do, even whether you a fan of that particular wrestling talent or not. And when we had Justin LaBar, shout out to Justin LaBar from the Wrestling Inc. podcast and the Bleach Report and all those things that he's been a part of. He's a man of many accolades. But shout out to Justin LaBar because he was talking about his experience and how he started out. And he just like us, man. Talked a little trash. And
Yeah.
he told a dope story. You'll have to go listen to the episode to be able to know what that story was. I'm not gonna recap that for y'all. Y'all know
Yeah.
what it was. Listen to the episode. Uh,
No
but
recap.
Justin LeBar literally told a dope story, and I mean, he learned the humbling perspective side of it of just like, hey, watch what you say on air, cause it's gonna stick forever.
Oh yeah.
So like, whoever you talk about and who you bash, you might run into them one day and meet
Mhm.
them, and then they'll probably make a nice little rib up at you, like, oh yeah, I'm the guy that you say sup, right?
Yeah.
And be cool
Exactly.
with you about it though, because that's what they want.
Mhm.
As fans, no matter what level, what side we are, you know, legit, man. Everybody you root for, you boo for. They love the reaction. So no matter what your opinions are, they still know how to take it and go about it. Just be
Mhm.
respectful with your opinions, people. Just be respectful with your opinions at the end of the day. And that's what I try to do with the show, man. And I can tell you do that with just matter of fact, while we're thinking about it, go ahead and tell them a little bit about X Marks the Spot. What inspired it, what it, like you said, what do you do with structure on your show, man? What makes it different and unique for you, man?
Man, when I started X marks the spot, it was I always wanted to start a wrestling podcast, but I didn't know how to do it. Just like people don't know how to like just automatically do it. So my brother who does music in Chicago, he had told me about this app where you could do your podcast on the Anchor and like just for starters, just record on it. So I did one. I was trying to come up with a name like something catchy. I was like wrestling real talk with my shoot name, not Darrell, but like with my actual name. I'm like, no, I don't want to use my actual name. I want to use like an alias.
Yeah.
So and they used to call me Stacks back in Chicago. That's what they called me in college. So okay, I'm Stacks the homie. So X marks the spot. I'm gonna put the S in there over Marks. So X marks the spot with Stacks the homie, and just going in there, just talking smack at first, like just airing out my grievances about how I'm just tired of wrestling fans like dragging the product, and this before I was even in the wrestling business. So,
Mm-hmm.
and then after that, I started getting to making parody songs. I made a song called Smarktown Road. This is off Old Town Road or whatever. Basically saying the song about crying smarks, and I posted it on Twitter, and
Mm-hmm.
Ben Portman retweeted it saying awesome song, and then that thing got so many plays and stuff like that, and like took
Uh-huh.
my off. I'm like, oh dang, guess I got doing this now. Then I'm like on the charts. I was like top 50 on Apple in
Uh-huh.
America for wrestling podcast. I was number 1 in Thailand, like top 50 in Australia, number 1 in Argentina. I'm like, geez,
Oh.
like this is
That's dope,
man,
man. That's
like this. I'm just daring to be different. Like I want to make it fun, just like your show is fun. Like I'm
yeah.
over here naming like, what's your favorite gimmick? I'm going through the best trash talkers. I'm talking about just all types of like the video games. I had this one where I like say, what's your favorite entrance song? Where I'm pretty much playing all these songs, just like kind of vibing to it, and
Mm,
everybody having fun with it. And
yeah.
I don't know, I love it, man. It's kind of hard coming up with content for it because you want to be so different. Because
Yeah.
honestly, it's easier to watch wrestling on a Monday throughout the week and just go in and get behind your mic, just talk about what you seen. And
Yeah.
I don't want that. Like, we want our stuff to have like a little substance to it and stuff. So
Yeah.
it takes a while for me to come up with something. Sometimes I don't even know what I'm talking about until like the day before I start recording because it's hard.
Yeah, and it really is, man. Like I try to tell people, even on this side, it is not as easy as it seems. Like, I mean, people can go watch my boy JD from NY if they want to hear somebody playing and talk trash,
That guy.
about pro wrestling. Yeah, and I love JD because he's a funny guy, man. Like I find his opinions hilarious. I may not always agree with him per
Mhm.
se, depending on where he coming from with it. Maybe when he thought it was a trash show, I thought it was a good show. At the end of the day, shout out to my podcasters. Shout out to my referees. Shout out to my wrestling talent. Shout out to my production crews. Shout out to my commentators, my backstage production people. Shout out to my
Third.
ring announcer. Shout out to everybody in the pro wrestling business, indie level, mainstream level, no matter where you at, promotion you with, who you repping, where you repping. This is for y'all. We love this show. We love everybody here on the Life's a Botch podcast, and that's what we do. Nonetheless, man, we're gonna get into a dope segment on the show, and this is a real unique segment I thought of one day when I first came up with this show, and I was like, this would be kind of cool to do because you could take this and spin it off of any and everything. The listeners really enjoy this segment because they know what time it is when I do this, but it's called Babyface or Heel. So basically, with Babyface or Heel, how it works is I throw out a subject, throw out an idea, a thought, whatever, and it could be wrestling related. It could be non-wrestling related. And what you just do in that moment is you choose to go either babyface or heel on that particular idea or subject. And whichever route you go, which 9 times out of 10, most people go the heel route, but whichever route you go, you just say what you want to say and say why you feel like you're going to go that way.
Alright.
And even if you don't say why, we can just tell from your response, like, oh yeah, that's a heel response. Oh, that's a babyface response. So we'll know, I got you, my brother. So the
Okay.
first thing that came to mind upon this, as you know, you mentioned video games. I'm sure you know the news, but WWE 2K has announced the fact that they're not going to come out with a WWE 2K21. Now, given how the last 2K came out and it was very, very, very glitchy, very, very, very glitchy. And the 2K franchise has been a disappointment personally to me because I played a couple of them and I was just like, this is trash. I'm not gonna lie. This is trash. I mean, sure, it looks good. It looks good. But when I compare this to SmackDown versus Raw, and SmackDown Here Comes the Pain, and No Mercy, and so many of these other great,
Yeah.
great games of the past, this sucks. It
Yeah.
looks good, but it sucks.
It don't even look good.
So what are you gonna go on the idea of the 2K franchise as a whole? Are you going babyface or are you going heel with the fact that this is completely ended?
I'm going heel on them because, man, I bought 2K20 for $20. I think I played it once. I ain't played it again, man. It's like they don't even look like the last game. Like the graphics, like they actually took a step backwards with it. Like the graphics used to hook me in, but jeez Louise, they got stiff hair and everything. It's real glitchy. I'm going heel on them. Sorry.
Okay, so that's one for the hill, baby. You already know. Hey, botchers, y'all got to keep tabs for me. Y'all gonna have to make tabs on how many heel reactions we get on every segment of this we do. So my next one for you is non-wrestling related. As you know, we just had day 2 of the NFL draft, and I'm pretty sure you've seen something which we've seen pretty much since this whole pandemic started, everything out the norm, where you just witnessed an NFL draft that's exactly like what we're doing right now via virtual. So watching, just imagine now, think about how long the NFL draft really is.
Yeah.
It's already long when it's in person.
Uh-huh.
But now, when you're talking about viral, no one is near each other and everybody's at home. What was your experience? What are you going babyface or heel from watching? Even if it was just a taste of watching it, even if you didn't watch the whole draft, just from seeing it in the format that it was in, babyface or heel for you on that, brother?
I guess I'm gonna be a tweener because you gotta do what you gotta do, but I'm gonna kind of lean more towards the heel side. Man, they could have just told us who they picked the next day. I ain't want to see them in their living room. They're all wrong. They up in there got their mama snatching girlfriends off the phone. Man, it was rough.
Oh man, you are telling me, brother. I was sitting there kind of just really trying to figure out like why and how. I mean, I like you said, you got to do what you got to do. Props to the NFL for improvising, but man, it was already long in person.
Yeah,
And you gonna show me these delayed responses where people are like, we're like, yo, you just got drafted to this team, and you're still sitting there like you're waiting to get a call.
Yeah,
And then you get
on the phone. They ain't even celebrating or nothing. Like, I guess they don't know you.
I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. So I gotta put one of my favorite wrestlers on blast right now. I love the Velveteen Dream. I love it very, very much. So this is why I call a hot babyface or heel topic right here. Sizzling. So I'm not gonna, I love Dream. I'm a good fan of his. I'm not gonna attack Dream. I'm gonna attack just the scenario of what's going on here. So right now, it's believed that, from his what he mentioned and the fact that this was literally a stolen, unapproved photo that got leaked beyond his permission, without his permission. So I'm giving the benefit of the doubt because you're always innocent until proven otherwise. So things happen. It's a crazy world. It's a sick world. We know. But are you gonna go babyface or heel on whoever put him in this predicament right now?
Oh, I'm going full heel on them because, like, if it's just like some fake stuff, like, of course, I'm like, why? Like, why are you trying to ruin him? So I'm just gonna go heel on them. Like I don't know what's going on, but I'll go heel a little bit on Velveteen Dream too. Like even if this stuff not true, like you gotta move a little different. Like you in the national spotlight, so even if I don't know if he sent that through a DM or not. I would hope not, but you just never know, man. You just gotta move a little different. Like just keep yourself out of these situations. But I'm definitely going full heel on the person that did it, cause like why, man, Dream, that was like my hope. I'm like yes, but
Yes,
trying
yes.
trying to take them out of there, man. So I'm going
Oh,
heel.
got to. We got to. I mean, again, let this be known, Dream. We love you. We rooting for you. We hoping everything is completely as you say. You know what I'm saying? And we hope this doesn't mess up your future push of winning that NXT championship, baby. Because I
Yeah,
want to see it happen. It's long overdue. You know what I mean?
that
So
main roster debut after WrestleMania. So
that too, that too. Something. Give us something because the dream is too great for TV, man. We got to
yeah,
see more. We got to see more. And that pretty much does it for this dope segment right now at the moment. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of this was on the fly today. So, I got what I could get. But don't worry. We'll have him back on in the future. We'll have some more fun Babyface or Heel segment questions for him. So, in the
yes, sir.
meantime, that was Babyface or Heel. So, here comes another great segment that really closes out the show. Haven't done this one in a while. So, Brian Shaw is someone, literally, Darrell, as you have been someone who literally has done, well, a little bit of everything now in the indie scene. Go ahead and tell the people we're going to do this 2-minute promo. I'm going to time you as we speak because I'm going to pull up this here stopwatch. And like I said, you can cut a promo on absolutely positively anything and everything you want. It is no filter whatsoever on this, baby. You got 2 minutes to do so. So, like you said, you can break kayfabe. You can go ahead and use kayfabe, as a referee. Call out some talent, whatever. You can, you know, rip your favorite NFL team. Like I said, maybe if they didn't draft right and you just want to go on them for a little bit. However you want to do this thing, man. This is the official 2-minute promo. So when I count to three, you go ahead and let it rip, my friend. Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
All right. And 1, 2, 3, you're up.
All right, y'all looking at one of the greatest refs in the entire world. Like, if you see me outside the ring, you'll see I probably got more drip than a lot of these refs do. And when it comes to wrestling, I probably got more wrestling ability in one of my farts than a lot of these wrestlers got in their entire body. And don't even get me started on these wrestling podcasters. Y'all talk about the same thing every week and notice and wonder why nobody want to listen to y'all. Be different. Like this is gonna be a straight shoot promo on everything. Let's talk about this NFL draft. Don't nobody want to see them in their house sitting in their drawers waiting on the call saying they got picked for a team and they don't even know. Like we knew they got picked for the team before they did. So stop all that stuff and let's get some more people in these arenas. If I gotta listen to one more person cough, just that lone cough coming backstage watching wrestling, I'ma go crazy. So please, like everybody, stop your madness. Stop walking around with your little mask in these grocery stores, buying the most non-essential stuff in the world. Don't walk up on me. You might catch your elbow. That's all I'm saying. And I'm going back to these podcasts again. Stop. Come up with something. Be creative. And as far as wrestling talent goes, I guess I'm gonna work a little kayfabe in. Johnny Slaughter, I hate your guts. I'm gonna slap the crap out of you next time I see you. How's it gonna feel getting slapped in the face by a ref? I'm gonna leave my ref shirt on and just slap you across the face with the ref shirt. So how you feel getting slapped by a referee? Man, I guess I ain't gonna stop. I'm gonna go on a whole slapping spree. I'm slapping everybody. I'm slapping the commentators. I'm slapping the announcers. I'm going backstage. The young person taking pictures. I'm slapping them too. I'm just going on a mean slapping spree because I'm mad. I'm the angriest smart of all time. Don't nobody want to mess with me. I'm going crazy already. Like you shouldn't have did this to me. Now people think I'm a psychopath, just trying to call out everybody like I'm going on a massive slapping spree. But hey, it's inevitable. I'm just gonna slap people. I ain't gonna slap you though. No, you cool people, but it's getting slapped. So
And time, my brother. That was perfect. That was perfect. You did it. That, ladies and gentlemen, is how you conduct a promo for 2 minutes as a referee. All right. So this does it for yet another full edition of the Life's a Botch podcast. Mr. Shaw, thank you so much for coming on, brother. It is so awesome. Everybody that comes onto the show, we always consider as family, good people, cool people. We appreciate y'all, man, because This is a wrestling fraternity. This is family. This is what we do, man. We chop it up. We talk. We relate it to real life, and we laugh, and we make y'all laugh. You know what I'm saying? So go ahead and tell the people where they can find your content and where they can follow you, man, and watch you grow and do your thing, man.
Oh man, well they could add me on Facebook. I'm Darrell Shaw on there. It's a relatively new page. I'm on Twitter. That's my podcast page. That's X marks the spot. That's SMARKS the spot. My handle on there is Smart Henry. I'm the world's strongest smart. So yes, Smart Henry 85. I'm on there. Um, that's about it as far as like my content go. You can listen to X marks the spot on Apple and Spotify. I'm on iHeartRadio now, but I'm usually Apple, so y'all can check me out there. And of course, Victory Championship Wrestling. When we get the ball rolling again, I'm gonna start plugging they shows on my page. In Mumford, Alabama. Come see some people. So we got some good talent there. We got Big Smooth. We got Legato Vaughn. We got the Horse of War, Scott Patterson, JD Rush, whole bunch of them, man. Aaron James, Freak Inc. Just a lot of great people there, and Joshua Hagan, my trainer, is just so some good stuff going on in VCW. So definitely check me out there.
Come on, man. Well, you already know what it is, and y'all already know who I am, man. It's your Prince of Botch, man. Your friendly neighborhood Prince of Botch. And y'all already know, follow all things Life's a Botch podcast. Life's a Botch podcast group on Facebook. Life's a Botch podcast on Facebook. Life's a Botch podcast on Instagram. And Life's a Botch podcast on the YouTube. Also, head to www.otsguys.com. Check out the Life's a Botch podcast and many, many other dope shows that you can find under the OTS network. Alright? So, y'all already know what it is, and you know what I'm about to say right now. If you're listening, make sure you subscribe, leave your 5 stars, let us know what we're doing, what we're not doing, talk your trash. We'll probably talk trash back with you. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Because that's what we do. We family. So make sure you leave those reviews. Let these folks see that this is one heck of a show to join and listen to. And at this moment, you have officially been